this 8-part Netflix documentary called America's Team, right?
Yep, America's Team.
About the Dallas Cowboys.
Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy. Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Subscribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was on your mama.
Harry Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers, loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
See my Yukon sweater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a big fan?
No, it looked, I don't know anything about them. I was in the airport. We're here in Hartford, Connecticut. I know that summer is no longer among us, but it's not winter yet. But I thought, what if it gets chilly? And it looked big enough, and I bought it out of an airport.
No, it looks good, though. It didn't look like an airport.
Purchase?
Yeah, it looked better than that.
Yeah, so, you know.
You look like a fan.
Yeah, even though I don't know anything about them. And listen, it's not me in the McDonald's shirt for those people who are.
Did you want me to go get you a McDonald's shirt real quick?
No, I purposely put this on. Give me a different look.
Anthony, if you could superimpose McDonald's right on there just for a minute, just for
replace the wolf. Is this a wolf?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a husky.
But that's a wolf, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a dog. It's not.
Oh, okay. See, that's how much I know.
Yeah.
So we're here in Hartford, Connecticut. Before we get to the meat and potatoes, which is us talking about this 8-part Netflix documentary called America's Team, right?
Yep. America's Team.
About the Dallas Cowboys.
What do they say?
Jerry Jones, the gambler.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first mentioned that to you, you were almost put off by that.
Oh, well, I had my own opinion, and I got to say, before we get deep into this, though, and I will just say that this gave me a little bit different perspective
on Jerry Jones.
But so we'll get into that. But so it was, when you grow up at a certain time period in life, and I grew up, I was already, I'm an adult. I'm living on my own at this time, and and the things that transpired to make Jerry Jones who he was with Dallas, I had my version of it, and it's funny because we'll talk about it more, but this has helped smooth out some of those edges.
And listen, I always say I'm not a football guy, but I will say this: this is how you know the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if I want to use the word special, but this is how you know they have a big imprint on society and on sports, and particularly football. Because it's one of those things where even if you don't really know the sport, even if you're not necessarily a fan of the game of football, I know who the Dallas Cowboys are. And I know more about them than I probably do any other football team ever. Hence why they probably got the Monarch, America's Team. But I do want to get into that too.
Yeah.
But whether it's
I have my opinion on, too, why they're so big.
Right. But whether it's, if you're not a basketball fan, you know who the Lakers are. If you're not a football fan, you know who the Cowboys are. There are just certain players and teams that become so large and iconic that you know who that is, you know who they are.
Or you might as well throw the Yankees in on that one. Then,
there you go.
Because for years, the Yankees were in the dump, but everybody still knew who the Yankees were.
Right.
Because it was the Yankees.
That pinstripe is famous.
Yeah.
So before we get into the meat and potatoes, I just got a couple things I want to throw out there. I was watching TV the other day. Wasn't really paying attention to it. I was doing something, but the TV was on. And I saw the previews. It's coming back. October 27th, baby. Season 4, I think this is. Mayor of Kingstown.
You and this love for Mary.
Dude, that show is awesome. I don't know why didn't you start? We talked about season 1.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of left it alone after that. It's awesome.
I get
It's awesome.
I feel there's so much good stuff out there. I don't feel it.
There's a lot of good stuff out there, but and I know you've said that before, where it's like there's so much stuff out there that you get caught in the wave of ocean water is, the tide that
Does
takes
it pull
you
me
somewhere
back
else.
in? Does it pull me back in?
If you
know?
watch it, I guarantee it would. It's
I-
that good.
I'll check it out. Mark, is there any way you could turn off the wind behind us, the wind machine? I'm sorry.
The air conditioning.
Yeah. It's starting to get warm.
But yeah, no, I know there's a lot of good stuff out there, but I've dedicated myself to Mayor of Kingstown and Godfather of Harlem. Like I said, I don't like the way that the season finale of this last season of Godfather of Harlem ended, because I think they kind of made it so that they kept the door open to not bringing it back. I just thought the ending was weak, but Godfather of Harlem is the and Mayor of Kingstown is awesome. So to the fans out there, October 27th, I believe this is, Mark, can you look that up, what season this is? But this is, I believe it's season 4.
You know, I just think Jeremy Renner is a really good actor, and I would like to see him in something that really, I know I haven't seen the other season, so maybe I'll feel differently when I see it. But it's just like, it's a very...
October 26th,
Yeah, but what season is this?
season 4.
Yep, season 4.
It's just a very single kind of note kind of character. He is... okay, I got to see it again.
It's everybody.
All right.
This cast is stellar. The stories are off the chain. It's a great show.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. I will check it out. I promise.
Like listen, we talked about the second season of Tulsa King. I'll stick with it because I'm invested. But that doesn't, Tulsa King, the season 1 was great. Season 2
it was okay.
was okay. That show doesn't blow me out of the water. Mayor of Kingstown and Godfather of Harlem blow me out of the water.
You know, I haven't followed up with the Godfather in Harlem, but I really like everybody that's in it, so I should, but I just haven't. It's just we're inundated with stuff. There's some stuff that I wanted to send to you. Like, you even sent me this thing on John Candy, which I'd like to see. But there's a whole other thing on Charlie Sheen where there's a doc and some other things that came out.
I mentioned that too. Yeah, that's coming out,
I'd like to see that
but
as well.
those are one-hitter quitters. They're not series.
Yeah, you're right. But the series, that's an investment.
Yeah, well, I'm invested.
It's an investment of time. It's like I even say on stage now, if you listen to our podcast, if you haven't listened to our podcast, we'd appreciate it. But you know, whatever, how I say it, then I go, man, there's so much. You only have so much time in the day, but if you get a chance, listen.
Well, I think there's 3 episodes in this docuseries, so I might as well put it out there now. But I mentioned it to you before, and I mentioned it on the pod on Hulu, Magic City.
Yeah, but see, I want to see that.
That's 3 episodes. So, and I know it started a week and a half ago. So by the time we get to it, all 3 episodes should be out.
3 episodes is that's nothing. It's when
It's the 8-episode commitment.
Eight or a season. It's just it's hard to get. It's especially like right now. We just ran into this because we had a quick weekend, so we only have so much time to do the podcast, and then we added.
That's what
I'm not
makes it
going to
really
say. I'm not
hard.
going to say we. I'm going to say Aries added a show because I didn't sell 1 ticket. So Aries added a show, and it becomes our time is getting tighter, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just we're not. I decided to drive out here. If I would have flown, I would have watched it on the plane. I drove out here because I thought it was going to be a quick ride. It's supposed to be 2.5 hours, and it took me 5 hours to get here, so I didn't have any time to watch it. So,
Right.
All right, but that's neat.
But yeah, and next week we're in Kansas City.
Kansas City.
So just to give you guys a heads up, watch Magic City on Hulu because that might be the meat and potatoes for next week. And again, that's about the famous strip club in Atlanta, which we've been to.
Yeah, and I wanted Tara to watch it. Maybe we get her fired up. I could get her all fired up. Who knows what will happen that night?
Magic City was the strip club where I said I saw a dude smoking a blunt while eating a hot wing at the same time. There's just special skills that possess. I'm not one of them.
This isn't when you go. If you've never been to a club like this, and there are other clubs, but not as good as
Magic
this.
City is the creme de la creme.
This is not just stripping. This is gymnastics.
Oh, this is.
This is high flying acrobat.
Listen, the drug dealer might have as much money or prestige as the celebrity standing next to him.
Yeah.
And some of the best black booties and thighs on the planet. Magic City, man. Yeah.
It's a small place.
As a matter of fact, next time we go to Atlanta, Spin Divots and Magic City is the two go-tos for me.
Which way first? Spin divots first.
Spin Divots last.
Last?
Because I can't do Spin Divots and then we have a show. I want us to be done with because Spin Divots.
Oh yeah.
they're
We
open.
did. Yeah, that's how we did it last time, and we went
Yeah.
there late. That was
and they're
perfect.
open late.
That was
And-
perfect.
Yeah. And you could eat, go back to the room, and butt
There
naked
was
time.
one time that we went, and you got. This time was the last time we went was good, but there was one time you ordered this thing that came over, and it took up a whole table. And
It was a king's feast.
I tried to
Spawn
crush.
divots.
Huh?
Spawn divots.
It's Spawn Divots?
Yeah, but that's not how they say it.
Oh, I thought it was a strip club.
No.
I thought it was that seafood place.
Yeah.
They, but I try to crush as much of that too because I love crab. And the shrimp were unbelievable. Like we went at the right time of the year, everything was perfect.
Yeah.
I tried to take that down. I almost made myself sick trying to eat all that shrimp, all the shrimp and all the crab that was there. It is one of the most amazing places to go because it doesn't look like it's going to be that great, and it's that great.
No, it is. It is. Something else I got to throw out there because I just saw I saw it all over social media. Mike Tyson, did you know about this?
No, I didn't.
He's signing to do an exhibition fight, him versus Floyd Mayweather. What? That's like a flea versus a bulldog.
No, I think that's a good fight.
No, Floyd weighs like Mark. How much? Look up how much Floyd Mayweather weighs.
Yep.
Mike Tyson is 220 something pounds.
Okay, I understand that, but Mayweather's quicker, and he's a defensive fighter, where Tyson's an offensive fighter.
148 pounds. And how much does Mike Tyson weigh? Listen, let's be honest. This is a joke.
It's an
a joke.
exhibition.
It's a circus show.
But a defensive fighter.
220 pounds versus 148.
But a defensive fighter versus an offensive fighter, that he still has to get, and he's old.
Listen.
He's old. It's a fair switch.
If Mike Tyson gave 70%, the weight difference alone, he would run through that.
You got to hit him, and no one's ever been able to hit him.
You know what? They should fight this fight with headgear and T-shirts on. That's how so stupid this is. This is dumb.
And the big gloves.
The cartoon gloves.
The big ones.
This is ridiculous.
No, you know what? I'm going to disagree with you. You're more of the fight guy. I get that, but we have an older offensive fighter fighting a younger defensive fighter.
No. They're both old. Mike Tyson's older, but they're both old.
But he's still. I think it's going to be interesting to watch. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun watch. It's not anything that's.
Boo!
No one should be betting on this fight. This is just
Why?
eyeball entertainment.
Why?
Because at my age, I want to see some people my age run around a ring.
If that's the case, then let's get Tyson Holyfield 3. They're both the same age. They're both old, but it's the end of the trilogy.
Yeah, there's something to prove in that one. There's nothing to prove in this other one.
And you know, that's probably what's missing for me. There's
Yeah.
nothing to prove. It's going to be a joke. Nobody's really trying to hurt nobody. Give me a break. I would rather see Floyd fight Sugar Ray Leonard if we're going to go down this road.
You know, it would be fun though if you did get the fight that you just said, Tyson against
Holyfield,
and they play, since it's just going to be an exhibition, they plan it right, and they put like a gummy ear on Holyfield,
so Tyson can bite
but
it off.
just eat it right there.
That's exactly what this is.
It
A
is
circus.
but I still think it'll be. It's fun. It's not supposed to be a battle. It's not a battle.
Yeah, I know, but listen, and there are some people who would argue Mike Tyson's legacy is solidified. Floyd Mayweather's legacy is solidified. But to some degree, you taint it with this. Like, why, Mike? Why,
It's an exhibition.
Floyd? That.
You know what? When's the last time you heard anybody talking about Ali fighting the wrestler? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't ever hear about that anymore. There's
Yeah, but
things fade away that aren't important.
I know, but that's clearly some stupid shit. Boxer versus wrestler. We talking about two legit boxers, and we doing this?
Yeah.
Oh, boo. All right, this Cowboys thing. My first question was this: because they always had that title, America's team. And I went, why is Dallas considered America's team, and why not any other franchise? Because I'm sure that if you, whatever city you live in, be it Baltimore, San Francisco, New York, Philly, other than people from Dallas going, yeah, we're America's team, who else is going that's not from Dallas that lives in another city, major city? Yeah, Dallas is America's team. And you know how fanatic football fans are. So there's a thin line between fan and fanatic. That who's supporting this?
I think I think the country supports it, because not every city has a team, and so when you're growing up and you kind of pick a team that you want to rep. For me, when I was growing up, I was, and I think it has something to do with the time that you're winning, the explosion of the sport, and how close you are to whatever city. And, you know, it's a good logo. It's a solid logo. When you're watching football, that logo stands out. Just the big star on the side, it's nice. And I would say that because of their explosion in the 70s, having that big explosion with Rod, and they didn't talk enough about that in this. That's one. They did. They talked about Coach Landry, but Staubach was kind of not mentioned very much. The team that they had before, Tony Dorsett wasn't mentioned really. So,
But did they win championships with Dallas?
Yeah.
So they showed at one point the trophy case, and they showed 5 championships, Super Bowl trophies. So how many did Landry win?
2.
2, and then Jimmy Johnson won 2, right?
Yeah, and then
Bill.
now we get
What's his name?
the coach.
So that's their 5. So
Yeah.
So when you say Tony Dorsett,
They won 2. Dorsett and Staubach won 2.
so then they should have 7 trophies then.
3 and
No, you just said Landry won 2.
well,
Jimmy
Landry was
Johnson.
with them at that same time.
Barry Switzer.
Yeah, it was the one.
Listen, this is why I'm saying this is my lack of football knowledge. So when you say that, you mean as Dorsett and
Landry
were
they
together?
did all at the same time.
Okay.
And then you have to take into account like the other big team that a lot of people they don't get the title like America's team. That was Pittsburgh Steelers at the 70s. Football's having this explosion. The television rights, people are watching it in TV. Remember, football wasn't the major sport at that time. Throughout the 50s and 60s, it was baseball. And in the 70s, football started to blow up. And so that's where I think people picked and choose who they went with. And a lot of people went Pittsburgh. I know a lot of people that aren't from Pittsburgh. Plus, we have to look at it, they're in the middle of the country. I mean, one's north and one's south. And the edge is when you go New York and you go L.A., the middle of the country doesn't go for New York and L.A. the same way. You know, they're more they tend to lead more with what's in the middle. They're the middle of the country, and I think that's what blew that up. Also, the Hispanic population really blew up Dallas.
Yeah.
It really blows up. It really blew up the Cowboys. A lot of Cowboys fans. And this is the exception too. And this is maybe because of California, I think. But the Raiders had that the Hispanic population as well.
Right.
And the Raiders, along with Dallas, Pittsburgh, the Raiders was the other team in the 70s. And these are the teams where you see people from all over the country root for those teams because we didn't have football teams in our cities. So I think those 3 teams really solidify what was going on in the 70s. And if you didn't have a team and you had to grab one and your parents weren't from a place that had it, there was no influence, you went with the winners. That's what, as you grew up as a kid, Kenny the Snake, man, that was for the Raiders, man. He was a big deal at the house. I thought he was a unbelievable player. But Staubach was my dude, even though I liked Terry Bradshaw, who was at Pittsburgh. And I know that I'm just going through a lot of these teams, but those are the 3 teams that I think really summed up that time period.
Right. Between Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, and Jim Brown, who's the best running back?
That's a tough one.
And, you know, I saw an interesting doc. It was a one-hitter quitter that I downloaded from Amazon Prime about Barry Sanders. And one of the things about Barry Sanders was there was a point where he would take himself out of games because he could, if he stayed in, he could have eclipsed certain records. But he got to a point in the game where he went, nah, that's enough. And you call that humble or whatever you want to call it, but I bring that up to say Emmitt Smith got some of the records he got because of that.
Oh yeah, he wanted to break those records. That was
but Barry could have made it so that Emmitt wasn't that dude. But he pulled himself out at times and took himself out of contention, and that helped Emmitt got where he got. Not saying Emmitt wasn't the shit. I'm just saying that's how great Barry Sanders was.
Barry Sanders was great, but he played on a very team. And
Yeah.
and I would say this about Barry Sanders. Here's the thing: he played with. He didn't have an ego. Otherwise, he would have forced his way out of Detroit a long time ago.
Right.
Because he wasn't winning. But
Yeah.
he played. That was the team that brought him in. That's the team he played for. That's the team he retired with. That's who he was as a person. There was no ego in that. So he wasn't looking for any. Everybody's looking for the notoriety, but he was getting it.
Yeah. But he almost didn't want it.
It wasn't him. That's not who he was.
Right.
Emmitt, man, I got to be honest. I would have to put him as probably. I want to put him as one of the best, if not the best. It's right there because he didn't get hurt. He played all the games.
Right.
He was fed the ball a lot. He took a big pounding, and he was just this beast, man. I don't know how you're able to. In today's game, and his age that he played, look, most running backs, they're done when they hit like 30, 31,
Yeah.
30. He kept on playing, and he was integral in winning. I think, but you got someone like Jim Brown, that you can't. That's a whole different kind of person. You had Gale Sayers should come up in that conversation, and Walter Payton, but Payton also a different kind of back, and they didn't feed him in those big clutch moments the same way that they fed Emmitt Smith.
Well, one thing Michael Irvin said that was, which is part of what made the Cowboys so lethal, and I love when Jerry Jones has that picture in his office of the three of them, Smith, Aikman, and Irvin with their backs, their jerseys.
That painting is nice.
But when he goes, we could either beat you by air or by land. Because, Michael Irvin, the playmaker, Troy Aikman with that arm, and then, of course, Emmitt with the running game. But again, back to what I said, if you're a general manager and you putting a team together of those backs, and you said throw Gale Sayers in there, Sayers, Emmitt, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, or Jim Brown, who you going with?
Well, I'm sorry, it gets more complicated than that. These are three young men all coming out of college approximately at the same time.
At the peak of their powers.
So I don't think you can just say, you could pick out a Jim Brown. You could pick out certain players and say, yeah, I would want them to anchor my team. But what they talk about in this doc is the chemistry. And they had to have the chemistry to work together. They had to have that chemistry so that they came together at the same time.
I love how you dance around.
No. And I'm saying it because if I'm the GM and I can get three players, or if I could get one anchor, I'm taking those three. Even if I didn't think
Wait,
they
when
were
you
the
say
best.
those three, what are you talking about?
The three Dallas got. Emmitt Smith.
That's not my question.
I know what your question is, but does it make a difference if you don't have the right people?
Let's say you had the right people.
Okay.
You got Michael Irvin and you got Troy Aikman. Now you got to pick a running back.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but for me, it's probably between Payton and Emmitt.
So now pick one.
But pick Emmitt. It worked.
Okay.
It worked. I can't.
I would go with Barry Sanders. Dude, when I saw that doc, and I didn't, again, I'm not a football dude, but I had heard of Barry Sanders, but what I knew him for was he I don't want to say quit, but he retired
Early. With everything functioning.
Yes. So I didn't know until I watched this doc that was cold. Some of the way he broke tackles and shook dudes, man.
Listen, it's unfortunate because we'll never know what he would have done if he had to play. He was the go-to guy, though. That's all they had.
Right.
So what does he play like on a team where
He got a quarterback.
And the ball's going to, he's still great, but how does he play? Emmitt was the perfect piece that fit that. So that's why I said.
Imagine Barry Sanders and Tom Brady's his quarterback and Randy Moss is the wide receiver. Jesus Christ, man. Oh, my God.
If they ain't beating you down the field with just sheer speed, then he's cutting and juking you, and you're losing him on while he's running the ball. Because those are the two. You got Moss, that's the fastest dude, and then you got someone that you can he's going to shake you out of your shoes. So what do you do?
Right.
But see, also with football, there's so many pieces. Norv Turner, I can't get his name out. Norv Turner. His game, his simplifying the game.
Was he the offensive
coordinator? And then he became a head coach. Great football mind.
Right.
So with football, it's different. Listen, I know you're a basketball fan, and so I'll say this. One great basketball player can change the direction of the team. It can't be that way in football. You could have the best quarterback, but no one to get the ball to them. They're not going to play well. You can have the best running back, but a running back is probably the best person you can have if it's only one person. But you still aren't going to win. You're still not going to win. You have to have pieces have to fall into place. And then even when the way the game's played now, even if you get the good quarterback and you get the good running back and you have a good wide receiver, and then your offensive line sucks, they're going to destroy you. You're never going to get the plays off.
Yeah.
So football's a very complicated sport. So that's why I you said I'm dancing around it, but football to me, I look at when they say X's and O's and they draw up those charts, there's 11 dudes on each side. And the idea that an offensive lineman is playing in a box that's about 3x3 is what he's playing in. And they always talk about his footwork. So that means knowing how to move your feet and defend someone so that they don't get to your quarterback. In a box, it's about 3x3 to move people off so that you can protect your quarterback. That's how specialized that position is.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes football really difficult. And I have, when we're talking about it, I have a hard time just saying this person here. That team came together, and I don't think this happens very often. I think that's one of the things that when Jerry Jones and Jimmy
Johnson
are fighting about it, dude, where is the idea of luck in this? Because luck is very important in this. Because you don't get all these, and now moving up in the draft to get certain players, that's a little bit more than just luck, but it was available and you moved up and you were able to get the players you want. Luck goes into this because to have those three players on a team at one time, that doesn't happen. Not that quickly. And by the time you get one player, maybe another one is a little older. Maybe he's peaking and the others aren't quite there yet. It's pretty amazing that happened for them.
Yeah. I don't want to go off on this, but maybe we'll save this for another time. But I would like to the same way I ask you these questions, like, what running back would you pick? There's got to be a thing where we go, who are some of the greatest players in whatever sport that should have won a championship but didn't because they were on a bad team, a la Barry Sanders. In basketball, I would go Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah.
That's so unfortunate to be an explosive talent, but you go your whole career and you just couldn't win because you didn't have the right horses around you.
Well, some people didn't win because there was one team that was in the way of them as well.
From North Carolina, 6'6".
But again, as great as Jordan is, Pippen coming to that team.
Yeah.
And him building Pippen. And I still give Jordan credit for building Pippen.
And Horace Grant. And
Horace, you put the team together, and you put them together the right way. You have the right coach. There's a lot to it, but those teams, I mean, Michael prevented people from getting their championships.
Speaking of, let's go back to the other Michael Irvin, who's my guy. And you've heard me say this on the pod when I did Best Damn Sports Show. Everybody should have the fortune of meeting Michael Irvin. When I tell you, this is one of the most legit good dudes on the planet. And everything you saw in the doc in terms of his personality, his playfulness, just a genuine dude. And because, again, I'm not a football dude, I didn't really know much about Irvin, the player, until I saw this doc. was verbally explosive. Get this, we're going to kill these. Like his passion, that's the word. If you looked up passion in the dictionary, Michael Irvin.
You know, after watching this is what I got from it. And I always knew he's, obviously he's the playmaker, And I watched him play and watched him win, beat people down. Here's the thing. People aren't everything. They're usually one thing or another. You could be passionate, but then you lack something else over here. You could be this and lack something. He's a well-rounded dude, man, because when he's on the sports shows and he's talking, he talks with the sports acumen, very intelligent about the sport. Then the passion is in him.
Right.
When you see this,
Yeah.
he's fun, he's playful, and serious as a on the other side. This dude, I watched it, I go, he is all those things. When you see him, people become a dimension of themselves,
Right.
just a single dimension, maybe two, when you watch him on, as the commentator now.
Yeah.
And so, I got used to seeing him as a commentator, and he'd say some funny stuff. So he was a little funny, and he had good football acumen that he's talking about. But when you watch this and you see who he really is, he's someone who could f up, and he's someone who could un it.
Right.
He's just like you said, I would like to meet him just because I found him so interesting that he is all these things.
And to your point, when you go, some people are, they may be this way, but not that way. Like they said in the doc, Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
He was a leader, but not vocally. Like there's some dudes as the quarterback, which is the leader position, who are verbal, who like Tom Brady, who will verbally get in your ass. And Troy did that later with that other coach, Bill.
Yeah, but and I'll tell you there's a problem with that, but go on and I'll tell you what the problem
Yeah, but
is.
but back to Michael Irvin. And listen, man, sometimes with these athletes, you don't understand how strong these are till they touch you. And Michael Irvin is a very, my boy. He's a very touchy-feely dude, which is a good thing, and when he's giving you that love. But there would be times, I remember one time I hadn't seen Michael in a minute, and then I saw him at baggage claim at LAX. I said, Mike, what's up, man? My boy. And he started hugging me and slapping me. And I'm like, you about to move ribs. Like, easy. Like, he's just strong, dude.
But they play in a strong sport.
But I bring that up to say this, and this is what was so great about hanging out with Mike. I know I told this story on the pod, but when we did Best Damn Sports Show, the show was the show before the show, which is we sit in the office room, the conference room, and we have a meeting about what the topics are, what we're going to do. And some of that banter with John Sally, Chris Rose, John Kruk, and Mike Irvin. And Tom Arnold would be there occasionally. He wouldn't always come to those meetings. But those guys would be in the meetings, and some of the dialogue, when they got to talking, and that's when, again, John Kruk, who played for the Philadelphia Phillies, and Irvin goes, let me tell you, and they were getting heated, like you say in your joke, two bulldogs going at it, spit flying. And Michael's like, let me tell you something, John, I'm tired of you talking this baseball. Baseball might be America's pastime, but football is America's passion. And I'm like, that is a quote. And in this doc, Michael Irvin said something about, man, I'm going to catch that ball. I catch anything come my way. And he goes, when I was born and the doctor tried to spank me, I caught his hands. I'm done, nigga. That is hilarious. When the doc tried to spank me, I caught his hand as a baby, a newborn. Mike got that. That personality
is amazing.
It's amazing, dude.
Speaking of his amazing personality, you brought up Troy Aikman, and let me tell you what's wrong with his personality.
And that's the opposite, deadpan.
No, but see, this is where I understand why he wanted a Jimmy Johnson, because he isn't about getting in your ass until he's about ready to explode, and then he gets in your ass. So what I'm saying is,
right,
if you're on that team and he's not saying anything, you're not saying anything, and you f up, when you f up, and this is your job. They say in sports, and I didn't have this, so that's why I wasn't great at sports. You have to have that short-term memory. You have to let that shit go if something goes wrong. But when you're up, and someone who's very, isn't going at people, isn't being that team leader, like you say, vocally, and then he loses it. That's the exact opposite of of what's going to work. Because now the coach isn't in your ass. This isn't in your ass. Everybody's, and you're trying to get over what you just did. And then this guy who never gets in anybody's ass all of a sudden loses it on you. Now you're pissed. Because you're already pissed at yourself. Right. But now this guy's doing that. And it's not that he was wrong for doing it. It's the way that you communicate with others. Because all of a sudden now this is out of character for you. And so now you're getting yelled at by a guy who doesn't yell at anybody.
Right.
And obviously, as you saw, he did get more vocal as his career went along. He had to because he had different coaches, and he found his position. He found his place where he could. But sounds so dumb because it doesn't really relate. But I was a restaurant manager, and I was very relaxed and fun. And then when someone f***ed up, I lost my mind. Worst thing you can do to people. It's the worst thing you can do to people. Mm-hmm. And that's why I realized when I was watching this, man, you have to be. There's a certain, a plane doesn't take off at 100 miles an hour. A plane slowly takes off, lifts up, goes up. That's you don't feel like if a plane that's why helicopters are so weird. They just go up and you feel that. That's what happens with people. And then emotions. If your emotions just rise really fast like that on someone, it's personal and it becomes a problem as well.
There's always this thing in entertainment, and I think particularly in sports, where it's code. Like they say, when you hear somebody white go thug, that's code for. And at one point, Michael Irvin said, "Yeah, people aren't used to seeing players celebrate the way we celebrated when we scored a touchdown, the dances and doing all this stuff." And I just went, that's code for black men showboating. Well, white guys don't really do that, but that's a black thing.
You saying that, but who's the one that said who said express yourself, enjoy yourself, be joyous to the game? Who said that to them?
Who?
Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson had that when he was in Miami.
White folks love to see their happy. If you're in the field, they want you singing, they want you dancing, frolicking about the cotton. They want to see them happy.
Just out of curiosity, because I love that impression.
Yes.
And someone else said it. How would it sound if he was a computer tech?
I am a goddamn computer technician. I work with computers. I do what the white folks pay me to do. I'm only telling you this, that I'm a computer tech, because they said, that's what you are. I should have added that one. I forgot that one.
Yeah, I know. You know who Steve sent me a text saying, "Oh man, I wanted to hear,
Paul Mooney is
Paul Mooney is
yeah.
So I just there you go, Steve. Yeah, man. The joke that I do though is because Tim told me that how he felt about hearing white people say the word thug because he said it's code.
Yeah,
and that's why I wrote that joke that I wrote.
Right. And
so it's funny to me but there's a certain there's some, you know what? Put a pin in that, and then let's get to when we get to the part where Jimmy Jones. What's not? No, not Jimmy Johnson. Jerry Jones. There's too many J's in this thing.
Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, when Jerry Jones goes against the NFL and starts selling. When we get to that
was awesome.
Yeah, but when we get to that, then let me go to the thug part.
Okay. Dude, what'd you make of Herschel Walker? Because listen, as a player, he was a beast, but he ended up being a political goofball, and to a lot of people in the black community, a straight coon, an incoherent, ignorant coon.
Well, I can't. As Herschel Walker, I can just tell you what Herschel Walker thinks. And Herschel Walker thinks...
Third person.
Herschel Walker thinks in the third person all the time. That's what Herschel Walker thinks.
Yeah.
I think he's a conservative person. There's a lot of conservatives, a lot of black conservatives in the middle of the country. That does happen. And it's not far-fetched as people want to think. And you are... I'm going to tell you, honestly, this is what I realized recently when I was thinking about our conversations. And people that listen to the podcast, especially black people that listen to the podcast. A lot of coastal part of you. You're on the East Coast and you're the West Coast. And those are very one kind of dimension. I don't want to say one dimension black folks, but I'm saying politically, the base is very skewed liberal on both sides and Democratic. But in the middle of the country, that's not always true. And I think there's a disconnect that you have with where you say straight up when you said it that way. I think there's a disconnect to you on people that live in the Midwest and are affected differently politically from the powers that be on the coast.
There's no disconnect because I'm basing this off of what he's said and what he's done.
I know what he said and what he does, but some people agree with that as you get more into the middle of the country.
Other do.
Okay, well, that's your choice to label them that way.
No. The people with a head of intelligence on their shoulders, a la the D.L. Hewleys, and I could name a more. They see him for who and what he is, based on what he says and does.
No, that again, that is for you guys to decide.
Okay, thank you. There's at one point they're talking about Jimmy Johnson and how it was such a contrast in terms of coaching versus Bill Fitch. Is it Fitch?
Yeah, I think
Fisher.
Fitch.
Fitch. At one point, Jimmy, they go, Jimmy, he grinds you, and during the practice moments, he lets you know if you don't bring it, no excuses. And he said to one dude, I guess one of the dudes, they show one guy who's laid out like he's making snow angels on the grass.
I love this.
And he goes, you got asthma? If you got asthma, get on the field with asthma. Like, God damn.
And then he goes into that meeting to the press, and they said, we don't have time for asthma here.
Right. And he cut you that day.
But he cut that running back when fumbled twice at the end of the game.
Right.
You know what, man? I got to be honest with you. Sports, just as from not as a human level, as a sport level, I loved it because when the coach sees you fumble twice at the end of a game and cost you the game,
right,
and they cut you immediately, that says something to the rest of the team. Right. That says we're not here to fuck around. These are jobs. And I pay you to do. You get paid to do a job. And that's to hold on to the ball. You don't have to get the first down. We want you to get the first down. You only have one real job as a running back, and that's not to let the ball go. That's the job, to hold on to the ball. You lose yards, whatever. We don't want that. But that is acceptable. Losing the ball, not acceptable. And to cut someone like that, I just thought, man, especially when you're building a team, and it really locked into who this team was going to be.
This is why I've often said, this is what's great about sports, because unlike life, it's fair. I'm sure there's some that happens here and there,
yeah.
But for the most part, it's fair. Like, you can't be the star of the Los Angeles Lakers simply because your dad owns the team. You have to have the skill set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And show business, we've talked about this, Nepo babies. Based on who your parents are, you can be put in a certain position. In sports, that don't work. You can't go, well, my uncle is the GM of the Baltimore Ravens, so give me a max contract just because.
No,
you have to have the skill set.
Yeah, you can work behind the scenes.
Okay.
Yeah, but on the field, the athlete itself, yeah, that's all proof. There's only proof.
Right.
And even if the coaching up, even if they like because your personality or something that they like, the media will call you out. Someone's going to let you know.
Right. Dude, let me because I was going to ask you one thing, but you kind of covered that. When Troy Aikman got hurt, backup quarterback Steve Berline came in, and at one point, they're winning, they're doing well, so much so that when Troy got healthy again, Jimmy Johnson was like, I don't know if I put him back in, and then damn they and get to the playoffs, but eventually. Yeah, Troy got put back in, and I just went, and this is again why I say, I know they love to throw that word around. We're family. It's a business.
Yeah, it's not a business decision.
It's what that?
Yeah, that wasn't business.
What was it then?
It's consistency, reps. When you're playing with someone and they're taking the reps and you got a hot hand and Berline's getting the ball out, he's getting it to the right people, and Troy's been sitting on the bench because he's hurt. It's nothing against Troy Aikman, but it's working.
But if Troy Aikman is your star quarterback, who obviously is more talented than Steve, why would you?
Because he hasn't been getting the reps. There's a connection between the running back, the quarterback, and your receivers, and it's all about timing and knowing where they're going to be and where to put the ball and how. And Troy Aikman was one of the best, but he is young. He hasn't been playing. He's going to come off, 5 weeks now or 4 weeks, and then he was going to go back into the game. And without that timing, there's rust. When even they talk about when you take a week off, basketball players take a week off in between, for whatever reason, for either the what is the thing that they do in the middle of the season?
All-Star break.
All-Star break, thank you. Or, that they have a bye week or whatever. They talk about sometimes you're rusty when you come back. A quarterback coming back, that's the most integral position that has to get the ball to the right place. Their timing has to be right. And if Berline's firing, it's a risk to move him if someone else is. And he wasn't. It wasn't like 1 week that he played well. It wasn't 2 weeks. It was
like almost a month.
Yeah. And so if it's working, it's gonna be hard to make that decision. And I'm not saying that. And Jimmy Johnson was talking about it, where he wasn't and Aikman talked about it too. They didn't really feel like he had that passion because he was so quiet at the time. So are you going to come back and you're going to be able to lead the team? If he was someone who could come back into the locker room and got everybody fired up and he was ready to go and they felt like, okay, his arm is coming back and he's going to be ready to go, that would have been one thing. But they didn't feel like he could fire him up. And you got a guy that's already getting that ball down the field and you're winning games.
So when those things happen, and I remember in the Tom Brady doc that kind of happened a little bit when Tom got hurt. So then, if you know that, and what you're saying is true, and certainly the players know that, then why do the quarterbacks start getting upset?
Because they want to come back. They're competitors.
Okay, but I'm just saying, and I hear you, but I'm just saying that if you know that, and you know if it's about the team winning, the team, and not you, wouldn't you go, everything you just said, the rhythm, the timing?
You better believe in yourself that you think you can do a better job, number one. Even regardless of the rust. And number two, I think there's a little bit of him feeling that there isn't the belief in him because he isn't established as being the all-star, all-pro quarterback yet. He's still Troy Aikman. I'm a young player making his way in the league with a great arm, and people are saying, yeah, you think he's going to be one of the best, but he hasn't proven that time after time. And Jimmy Johnson's looking at him like, well, you're not fired up. You're not the passionate leader that I'm looking for. So I think all that played into what he felt as well, because he felt like, I'm being robbed of this opportunity to show myself. But I really do think, and I think Jimmy Johnson said it. He goes, when they asked him, did he make the wrong decision? Yeah, you made the wrong decision because you lost, but that doesn't mean you were going to win putting someone in that didn't have that timing worked out. 11 men on the field. That means 10 people have to be on your cadence, your count, your snap. And everybody has to be moving in the right direction. And you have there's a I don't know how to say it, but there's a feeling that everybody has at that same time that's making it work, and it was working. So if you pull him out and you take a chance that that's not going to happen, I think that they should have brought him in at the beginning of the third quarter. Though they put him in garbage time, which was because there's a chance of still saving the game. And if your other quarterback is getting intercepted, why not? Why not make the change then?
Right. Was Jerry Jones the Jerry Buss of football?
No, because Buss.
And I only say that because, and they acknowledge this a couple times, but they really emphasized it on the last episode, which was, it ain't just about the game itself; it's about entertainment.
Yeah.
And Jerry Buss was entertainment.
He saw, but that's where they're the same, is that they actually saw what it could be.
So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Is Jerry Jones the Jerry Buss of football?
In that aspect. But remember, Buss had GMs. Buss wasn't the GM.
Yeah.
But as far as the reimagining in your head of what it could be, that's
where they're similar.
Yeah. And then I'll go back to where we go back, since we brought that up. I want to go back to Thugs, because What happens is, and why I said Jimmy Johnson was like, bring in, I want you guys to celebrate. I don't care what anybody go like just when he was in Miami. Fucking,
wasn't he the coach of?
Yeah. You go all out, man.
Right.
Have fun. You guys, you earned it. I want you to celebrate. I want people talking about you. I don't care. You bring your personality.
Right.
You do it.
Right.
But that's also what Jerry Jones had to fight, is the good old boy network that was running the NFL.
Yeah.
And so now, remember this, and this is what I'm trying to say about like how things are imaged. You have Jimmy Johnson, the white dude. I'm going to f this up the whole way through. You have Jimmy Johnson, the white dude, who's saying, yeah, bring on the celebration, play it. And then you got the news announcers, and you got the people that own the teams, and they're like, this is a circus. It's a sideshow. Right. Why are you celebrating like that? You're supposed to put it in the end zone. You're supposed to score a touchdown. You get paid all that money. That's the mental idea of the old guard that ran this. And that also affected the media and on the other people at the time. The reason ratings went up is because the people at home wanted to celebrate. They were into it. People were excited. Only the old heads, and I guess the grandfather old heads, because they're older than me, wanted the game to stay sterile. Yeah. And not fun and not have that emotion. We want that emotion. We want to see that you love the game, because we love the game. We love the game so much that we'll pay money to see you play the game. And if I'm emotional in the stands, you don't think the stands, when they're talking about these guys, of course they're supposed to score a touchdown. There's people in the stands with no shirt on in sub-zero weather, painted chest. You don't think that they're jumping up and down and having the emotions? They want to see that emotion. They want to be. Why do they have to bring all the dumb emotion? Let's all be crazy and have that emotion when a touchdown gets scored.
Dude, now that we're here, let's jump ahead. The start of episode 8, when they're talking about how the Cowboys are no longer the dynasty, the legend that they were, and they've been struggling for
cracks in the armor.
Their last championship was 27 years ago, and they showed just footage of, I don't even call them fans, fanatics, breaking their TVs, flat screens, punching them to the point where they got to get a new TV. You got to be a certain kind of stupid or crazy to be that affected by a game that doesn't have any bearing on your life. The game, it ain't like if the team wins, they send you your rent check for the month, or they help put your kids through. How are you this invested in something that does not benefit you?
I agree with you 100%, but let me give you the other side.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to say you're rich, but you got some cash, right? You're not hurting.
Okay.
Do you know how much tickets are? Season tickets?
No. I've never been to a game. I don't know.
They're hundreds of dollars a piece. Football can go up $500 a ticket.
Okay.
You're a person that makes X amount of dollars, not your kind of dollars, regular working dollars. And you invest it into your team because you love your team. And they get this close and they let you down like that.
So you break your own TV?
You were invested, man. And that TV brought you some information. I want a new TV. I'm not saying I agree with it. I think it's ridiculous. But at the same time, that emotional connection where it brought this horrible ending into your house. Yeah, I don't understand it, but I get it. I get what they're doing.
Can you imagine if technology, let's say 10 years from now, could implement a chip into your wife and her face was the TV?
No, I got a better one. You put the chip in, but it's the remote control, and you can program it to do what you want it to do at any time. And that mute button would be used a lot.
Oh, that's funny. That's on your wife. That's funny.
What was that?
Dude, I just think that's crazy. That you got, and even though the flat screens are basically like $10 now, that's not the point.
It's not the point. It's the emotional. It's just this emotional level that we get into sports because we can't play. All we can do is root. And when you're rooting for your team and it falls apart, that's as close as you can get to being the alpha male in your.
Man, see a therapist. That I would never imagine. I would never dream of doing that.
Okay, I'm just gonna give you.
Dude, I used to, and this was when I was a little younger. But when I would play my PlayStation and I would play online and lose, I would throw my controller and break it. And then in the last 10 years, I went, that's dumb.
It is
Those
dumb.
controllers cost $60.
Okay, and I love, but see, look.
And yes, I can afford it.
Yeah.
But that's dumb.
But look at this. Okay, I'm just going to give you this so that I can give you some pricing. And basketball's worse because it's the game per game is cheaper, depending on the seat. But per game is cheaper. Like if you're in the basics in the middle, lower bowl, but middle section. But there's what do you got? 41 games, something like that. 40 games. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of. Think about it as $50 a ticket at least. That's a lot of money for people to invest. I went and I got Tara for her birthday, and it's probably going to be her Christmas present as well. I got her a partial season ticket package for the New Jersey Devils hockey.
Yeah.
And by the time everything is all in, it's over $4,000 for 2 tickets for 11 games.
Right.
That's a commitment. You talked about these guys that really are committed to the team, really put all their money and maybe don't have a lot, and that's where that money, that little extra that they have goes. And then to new TVs. Because that shit happened. I understand the passion. I understand what I'm saying. This is the level of passion that they get to. They raise to that level of that's as close as they're going to get to a sport. And that's their aggression coming out when they lose. You watch the players; they're crying, they're on the field, they're upset. Grown men are crying about a game. So you don't think the punching a TV might be in that same level as if you're just at home watching it?
We know that there are women who are sports fans. As far as diehard, I don't think a woman could ever be as diehard as a man. But that being said, you've never seen women do that.
They're more practical.
If you saw Tara watch a hockey game and they lost and she broke the TV, what would you do?
It wouldn't happen. She's not emotional like that. She won't watch hockey with me anymore because I'm watching hockey and I'm yelling at the TV. I'm very vocally out about when I'm watching the team that I'm either spending money on or I care about. And especially if I'm spending money on it, then I'm really.
Right.
And so I had a love-hate relationship with the Devils because I don't have any New Jersey Devils wins like championships in me. She has as a young kid. She saw championships. I'm seeing these teams that I go, I know they should be beating this team, and what the. And so I do get emotional. I do yell at the television. I do have that, but I'm not breaking. But there's been times I wanted to. But I think about the cost effectiveness of it, and I don't do it.
Dude, Jerry Jones, you got to, and I love how this always plays out this way, which is why I go that lyric by Jay-Z, when you first come in the game, they try to play you. Then you drop a couple of hits. Look how they wave to you. At first when, he was kind of like, that word monopoly, I guess, when he was doing what he was doing, to
sue the NFL.
To sue the NFL because they were mad at him because he was making deals with sponsorships and he was taking shit to new levels.
Well, yeah.
And they didn't want him to do that.
No, they wanted to control it.
But by the end of this, which was what they show in the last episode, you owe this apology. He helped elevate the NFL to the highest it's ever been. And at one point, the Cowboys were worth what, $1.6 billion?
Yeah.
To this day, they're now worth like almost $6 billion.
I think they're worth more than that now.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like if it wasn't for Jerry Jones and his vision, the NFL wouldn't be what it is.
But there also that causes some issues. There's small market teams that can't make that same kind of money. There's a reason they wanted this little pool, and it was control, and then they would just divvy up the money because it was an old boys club. That's what it was.
$13 billion.
$13 billion.
It was just they would control the money and Jerry saw another way. But here's the other side. Here's the downside. When you go to a game, you used to go to a game and the field was nice and it would just have the Ring of Honor names and there would be a little promotion for whatever they had. Dude, everywhere you go, there's a logo now. Everywhere you go, it's just this commercialism. And
you're welcome, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's fine, but it is a lot. It's a lot when you're watching it, and every little flat surface is another place to advertise. It's a lot. It's consumerism at its greatest. But that's what you're doing. You're consuming it. When you watch sports on TV, you're consuming that. So if you can get a space to have it, I guess that it works. It is a lot. I think there might have been a better happy medium, and they might have achieved it if they didn't go after Jerry and said, "Hey, okay, but here's the downside."
The old guard though.
They didn't want
that.
No, they didn't. But you would have thought that they would have said, "Okay, let's find a happy medium. Let's find an area where we can all agree." But they didn't. They thought they could win. They thought they could beat him.
But what this really sounds like it boils down to is they saw that here's a guy that's maybe going to about to get all the money, and we don't want that. We want all the money.
Well, what they saw is if he blows this up, he's going to get this amount of money. We're not getting any of this money. And the way we used to do this is that there's 29 teams. We were all in, 30 teams. We're all in for a 30%. Well, we're all in for a 30 share, which one out of 30 is their share. And everybody was equal, and they were happy with that because they could put small market teams in. You could have a Green Bay because they were going to get money no matter what. It changed. That changed the game. But now you have to compete. You have to have stars. That's why stars are so important now because you want those jersey sales. You need team sales. So it changed the landscape. For better or for worse, it blew up the game. So that's better. But if you're in a small market, you're like, I'm fucked here. How am I going to compete?
What's socialism versus capitalism?
Socialism is more of that group mentality. That's not the right definition.
Hence the word social.
Social. It's a group mentality that all the money is going to one entity and they divide it up to everyone. Or capitalism, you go in and you do the best you can for yourself, and that's what he did. Right. But that's what this country is based on, and this is why I'm pro-capitalist because this is the way that.
Well, you're Jewish.
No, most a lot of Jews are more social, in socialism. Right. They have that kibbutz style of idea of a community and making money, but this is what makes people come. This is what leads to success because you know that you could come up with something and you could achieve greater limits. Like Jerry, he was willing to put that $900,000 or $800,000 into that well, and that's what made him the money to do this. More power to you. You were willing to take that risk. You found it. So why shouldn't you be rewarded for the risk you're willing to take?
Right.
Or you leave it up to the government to give you what they feel how you should live. That's a problem. But here's the thing I did want to say about this because I didn't get this in this beginning. So let me do this really quick. I grew up thinking that Jerry Jones was actually an evil man because the old guard part of the old guard that owned the Dallas Cowboys and Tom Landry for 29 years that that was the coach of the team. I felt he was dismissed unceremoniously, and then to see the other side and how they portrayed it and how they said it and made sense to me because the news was coming right out of Dallas. And so, and you see these, even some of the reporters that they're interviewing now still have that slant of how much, how terrible the whole thing was handled. And it was partially handled because he tried to go to dinner and he didn't even know he was maybe he did know he was in the right, Landry's favorite Mexican restaurant. I don't know. But when you break it down and it's his team and he did it, and he did go to Landry, and he did talk to him. None of that was ever put out in the media where he went to Landry. It was like he never even had it. I heard he never even talked to him. He was just fired, and there was no conversation. It changed my perspective. Plus, I also thought he was a rich oil guy. I didn't know that he took all the money that he had and really put it into this. And I thought he was the kind of guy who had hundreds of millions of dollars, and this was a side business for him,
like a hobby.
And then it became like his passion. That's what I thought this was.
Right. Oh no, it was his passion from the beginning.
And this is who he was.
Right.
And he did all that other just to get to this place. And if that's how it is, it really changed my feelings about who he is. He still looks like the Crypt Keeper right now, but I have a different opinion about him, and I think this was and it was understated. It wasn't like, well, I did it because of the, they just talked about it, and that's why I believe it, because of the way it was presented.
I want to jump to this Michael Irvin when he got busted with the whole cocaine and that old thing in the trial. At one point he goes, the district attorney, who's the prosecutor? What's the difference? The prosecutor, who's coming after him?
The prosecutor is the one in court.
Coming after him.
After him.
So he goes, the prosecutor goes, the truth is what I want it to be. in terms of how this will turn out
I
in court.
I thought that was the district attorney. Oh, go. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But then he goes, something, 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 and I don't like the fact that you've been taking advantage of these young, innocent white girls. So basically he tells him, I'm going to fry your ass in court. And then I go, so the district attorney wasn't really mad about the drug use. It was that this rich is white girls. Otherwise, why would you even say that? If this is about you are in trouble for crack cocaine, or it wasn't crack, but cocaine and marijuana and drugs, then that's what this is about. But for you to say, and I don't like the fact that you've been taking advantage of these young, innocent white girls. Also, this is about this rich white women.
It goes back to that movie. What's the marijuana movie, the old one, that really old? Do you know what I'm talking about? Reefer Madness. Pull up Reefer Madness real quick. Reefer Madness was a movie that we watch comically today, but it was really more of a PSA to America that black men were going to use marijuana so they could white women. That's really what it was.
Right. You mentioned this before. Yeah.
This is it right here.
Yeah.
And this movie sums up how people still felt at that time, and I think people still feel this way at this time. But this is just part of it. This is the indoctrination of like showing that.
Yeah, you don't have to play this audio.
It's going to make you. First of all, it makes white people crazy, and it makes white women black guys.
The big make white women black guys.
But it's because of the lubrication of the
lubrication of weed.
Yeah, of these illegal substances.
That's why I had to stop smoking for a while back in college.
Because you wanted to niggas?
No, because they were.
Oh.
No.
Thugs.
You went and you know, I love how defiant Michael was when he said, he basically said whatever he said, but he showed up in court with a full-length mink in 90-degree Dallas weather with shades on to show like, you're not about to punk me.
That's a bit much, though. I got to be honest.
Oh, it's absolutely a bit much.
He could have went with something more streamlined and said just as much.
Maybe a mink short set.
He could have got that thing that Emmitt Smith wore when he got drafted.
Right.
But in mink.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Emmitt's come a long way in his fashion stylings.
Yeah, man. It just, again, these code words. And listen, sometimes it's code, and sometimes it's, I don't know if the right word is overt.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's overt. You know, look at these thugs. Look at these you white women. I'm going to show you.
But I will say that most of these old guards, I shouldn't say most. I'm going to rephrase. A lot of these old guards have been ripped down. And I think that comes from these old... These small, it was a small group.
Right.
When there was only 30 owners that were running this billion-dollar industry, right, and they were saying what way it was going, that affects everyone around this corporation.
Right.
Because even though you own the Dallas Cowboys, at one time the entity was just like kind of basically one big giant corporation with these like franchise partners. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And they had all the say. And this starts a culture that goes out in a bigger way that affects everything around it. It affects the players. Okay, so now Michael Irvin is this guy because these guys made him that guy. I think it has a lot to do with the ownership of the NFL at that time and the way that they dealt with players.
And, you know, they pointed out how Troy Aikman, and I keep saying, I want to say Bill Fisher or Fitch? Fitch. How Bill Fitch really didn't have a great relationship with Troy Aikman. Certainly, he didn't have the relationship that Jimmy Johnson had with him. And at one point, I guess Bill Fitch said to Troy Aikman, hey, man, the way you coming off to these players when he started screaming and yelling, and at one point...
that's Bill Switzer.
Switzer.
Yeah, Switzer.
What's his name, Mark?
That's the coach. The coach that came afterwards. I thought you were talking about the assistant coach.
But anyway, I love when they showed the footage of Troy Aikman so frustrated that he's... And this player should be doing this. And he goes, that's the coach's job. The coach should be saying this, not me. And so this shows how tenuous their relationship was. But at one point, what's his name? Bill Switzer?
Barry
Switcher.
Barry Switcher. He goes. He pulls Troy Aikman aside and he goes, I don't see you coming down. What is that? He goes, that was him. He goes, I don't see you coming down on the white players like this. It's like you're coming down on these black players. And then it got out to the media that the rumor is Troy's a racist. And I love how, they show him go to court and he's sitting behind Irvin in support. And Irvin got emotional about that because he told his guys, don't come to court. This is on me. This is my thing. But here's Troy Aikman, the white star quarterback, leading America's team in court, sitting behind Irvin, supporting him. And I went, well, there goes that racist theory.
No, what I liked is what Emmitt said the best. What percentage of the team was black? And someone was up. It's bound. Sometimes it's going to be someone black, and most of the time it is because they're mostly black players.
Right.
So of course it's going to fall on a black player.
Right. And listen, if he's not yelling at the white players, let's be honest. Who the most talented on the team? The black players. So the white boys aren't even in position to out.
I mean, if he would have yelled at a punter or a field goal kicker, I think they could have got the point across.
Right.
He missed the field goal.
Right.
But this is where people are always grasping to find that way that we can cause division, though. To me, it is because that was a solid group. They all knew each other. That wasn't. But if you're new and you come to the team and you feel that way, man, then you have to ask yourself, why are my other guys here on this team so close to him? Then,
right? Yeah.
I don't want to go off into that.
No, because listen, in sports and life, there's always a racial component. So when that component came up, I just thought, this is, they eat with this guy, they live with this guy, they go on the road with this guy. They're a brotherhood.
But they know sometimes there are dudes that are racist. They know it. They know it.
Yeah.
And they know it. But that doesn't. But they're not going to be close to that person.
Listen, again, whether it's sports, entertainment, you work with people in such close proximity that you consider them family. And if they make a mistake and go off on a racial tangent, does that mean you disown them? Certainly not, because Danny Glover hugs Mel Gibson every time he sees him. I hope you get raped by a pack of Steve, put in the Mel Gibson music. I'm going to do this again in 3, 2, 1. I hope you get raped by a pack of niggas. Coming out of that. 3, 2, 1. Do-do, do-do, do-do. So, yeah, listen, I guess the thing is, you go, is it a mistake or has that always been you?
Yeah, I don't think it was a mistake. I think he just was fired up and was yelling at the person that he needed to yell at.
And that's why when Emmitt said what he said, it made sense.
Well, and also, this is the other part about Troy Aikman why he likes Jimmy Johnson so much. He wanted a coach that got in someone's ass so he didn't have to do that.
And that wasn't Barry.
No, Barry wanted to coach with love. And Barry had success.
Right.
So I can't fault him for that. But come on, man, it's sports, man. But when you hear more about who Barry was and his upbringing, you understand why he's more hands off on the personal.
Right.
And he's there to coach the X's and O's, not the lifestyle. Because I think when you hear the story about his mom.
Yeah.
And this is, you know what? I almost don't want to say this because this is really a turning point on how I felt about him as a person.
Yeah.
In this documentary. But when you hear that, you understand why he might be hesitant to lean into someone hard like that because he already feels responsible for something that's happened.
Right.
So I you can almost tell what I'm saying from this, but check it out because to me, I want to save that for you because when he talks about it, it hits you a lot harder.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see the emotion in his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got to put in context how many years ago that was. And again, when it's a family, you never get past something like that.
Right.
And so it makes life, what happens to you in life, puts you on your path of who you're going to be. And he was just different than Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, the part that I love the most, and I'm sorry that I forgot to say this before, and is when he gets the job for Dallas. he tells his wife that he thinks that this is about as far as they can go, and he divorces her because he's going to be 100% committed to being the coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
And to me, I was like, this guy has no room for anything else but what he is. That's how singularly focused he is.
Right.
I am going to be coach of the I'm not going to be your husband anymore. I'm going to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
He was already on his way out. He just needed a reason.
Yeah, but it's still pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not saying that that's the best thing to be singular focused like that. There's other things that come up in life that should get your focus as well. But he had a mission. Jimmy Johnson had a mission.
Right.
Just like I've had a mission to get the Wayne Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones separated. But he had a mission to do that. And he put everything into it. And that's why I think ultimately you have the fall apart between the JJs because they both need it.
Listen, they talked about so much how the San Francisco 49ers was such the dominant team in the 90s.
They were.
Of course, was Joe Montana part of that?
Yeah.
90? So, but as soon as he left, it was the other guy. What was his name? The quarterback that took over? Steve
Young.
Steve Young. Of course, Jerry Rice was always a staple. So I'm like, if the Niners were that dominant, why weren't they America's team?
Again, it goes from the coast to the Midwest. You got to look. Okay, first of all, look at the teams that are on the coast, both coasts, and now go to the Midwest and look for the teams. They're far apart. There's different things. You're going to pick up a team. You're going to pick up a winning team. Dallas fits in that. They're in the middle of the country. They're the South, in the middle.
So that's like the heart of America.
That's what it is. That's why you get Pittsburgh is the other one from that time that stands out because they're in the heart. They're in the heartland of America. They're right there. So that's what they're looking for. Listen, New York and all their teams for New York. California, this is for California.
That don't represent the heartbeat of America.
Was it ever like because of broadcasting? Like, were they broadcast a lot on TV?
Well, football wasn't broadcast on TV in general until like I forgot when. There's a famous story about how the Jets were playing in the Super Bowl and they cut away. Jets are winning, and they cut away because they already had scheduled to play Heidi, the movie Heidi, and so no one saw the end of the game on television.
Yeah.
So, like I said, football wasn't that popular at the time. So if you were a fan and you're in, like I said, you're in the heartland, you're probably going to pick other teams that are close to you and represent how you feel about things.
When they were talking about how especially when it rained, how harsh the conditions were to play in San Francisco. And this is, again, why I go, dude, I'm a fan to a point. I'm not sitting in stands where it's raining with a raincoat on and it's wet and muggy and sloshy. I'd rather watch at home where it's dry and comfortable and I can go to the fridge and get a beer or heat something up in the microwave.
And I feel like you about the games. I'd rather actually watch them on TV. I got the replay. I got the announcers talking to me if I wanted to. And there's people that do that too. They can listen to like different media forms so they can listen to different things. But I do like it at home. But that's because you're not like a diehard fan.
I'm not a fanatic.
No, but you got listen. Same thing with comedy. There was one time when I'm in New York and it was like 0 outside, and I'm wearing my coat and I'm putting everything on, and I go and I do my set, and it was a good set, and I felt so amazing about that because then I realized that's the first time I think I actually felt like I was doing comedy. Because if you go to California to do comedy and you go into it's 70-something degrees in the wintertime and you're still going in and it's nice and you can walk back to your house, anyone can do that. I went trudging through some snow and ice and freezing cold, and my face is all like red from the cold, and I can hardly breathe through my nose. And I get there and I do my comedy. I felt like, damn, I earned that spot. I earned that. Anyway, like you have to be a diehard to go want to do that.
That looks so unpleasant.
Dude, when
to just be sitting in the stands in a stadium
with plastic over the top of it.
Plastic, it's raining, the seats are wet. How is that fun?
Because they're that passionate about it. And if you're that passionate about it, you should have tickets to the game. You should be sitting at the game. You should be watching the game. I'm for those people to be at that game. Give me a dome.
I really don't have much else on this except, can you imagine if prime time was there during the Jimmy Johnson years? Like that picture of Irvin, Aikman, and Smith. Feel like make a little bit more room and have Sanders.
Well, see, now this is interesting because does his personality work with Jimmy Johnson?
Yes.
I think so too, because I think when you're great, you can have people call you out because if you're great, if your greatness is at a certain level, the coach can't be madder than you are at yourself. You know what I mean? When you are at that greatness, he can tell you how, like you shouldn't even have children because you don't want them to see this tape because it was so horrible. And you're like, I don't want to have any children because I was afraid they were going to see this tape. I mean, you should be at that passionate level, and I think Sanders was at that passionate level, especially at that time.
Right.
So yeah, I think it works for some, but some people can't have a coach like that. Some people, you heard people were like all the old players hated Johnson.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want it. They didn't want practices like that. They had a way that this was how we do it.
This is how we do it.
And then Emmitt Smith walked in wearing those little shorts and that jacket.
That was so 90s. That outfit was the 90s.
It was.
Quintessential black 90s.
With the loafers. No
Loud,
socks.
bright.
No socks, loafers.
Yeah.
There it was. And I wanted to call you up as soon as I saw that.
And dude, listen, man, and Deion Sanders, again, I don't want to use the word stereotypical, but what has been thought of as a black athlete, loud, cocky, flashy, he was all of that. The perm, the jewelry, the dancing, the women, the limo.
Dude, I think
he was a character.
Dude, this is where you're a genius. If people are going to say these things about you, lean the into them. Lean into it. They're already saying it. Make that money. Lean into it, and
right.
He did. He had a phone. I remember one time. I think he had two phones, and he's walking around. They're on a leash. They're hanging off of him, and they're like have like crystals or something on it. He didn't. He was, lean into it. Lean into it because if they're writing it about you, give them more to write about. Because all you want to do. The fame with talent and notoriety, you need extra fame to make that extra money, and that's what he did.
Yeah, he was a show.
But you look. The other player that played multiple sports was Bo Jackson. There's nothing wrong with it. His personality was completely different. He's at home right now shooting arrows at targets.
Right.
And he's enjoying his life his way.
He wasn't flashy.
But that's what I'm saying.
That.
He didn't need that. He didn't want that. That wasn't who he is. And he probably didn't, even though I think Bo was probably more talented. Maybe not more talented, but he had more size. He had more.
Right.
Who probably has more money right now? I'm not saying it's about the money. I'm just saying who probably does.
Oh, Deion Sanders.
And if you want the money, lean into this.
But Deion Sanders also career extended past.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas Bo is happy in the woods shooting deer.
I'm just saying though, to lean into if they're projecting that, and if you can make the money off of it, lean into it. Don't fight it. Why are you gonna? If they want to blow you up as someone who's like this black guy that does all this crazy stuff, and you are a black dude who does crazy shit, lean into it then. Right. Why not? Okay, you know what? Instead of getting the regular limo, give me the stretch.
With the jacuzzi in the back.
Let's do it. If they're going to write about me, let's give them something to write about. Let's make this work.
Let's give them something to write about.
Make that money.
Right. Oh, man. I'm going to say one more thing about Deion Sanders, but yeah. Yeah, that's
it's a great doc.
It really is.
And as much as I lived through that time period and I was aware of everything, this brought me some new information. It let me see things in a different way. It really, I think, improved my vision. It doesn't mean that I necessarily agree with everything, but I got a different perspective that was important.
Yeah.
So
there it is.
All right.
What are we calling this? America's team.
Cowboys is so much shorter, and people will look.
But
People
America's team. That's
when you put that keyword in there, Cowboys is going to come up.
really okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We can do it the same way, Cowboys, and do America's team. Right?
Wow, okay.
How's that?
You want some breaking news?
Yeah.
You know John Reap? John Reap?
The comedian.
Yeah. He got arrested on child exploitation charges. They found some stuff on his computer.
Listen, man.
Just second degree and third degree. 1 count is second degree, 9 counts of third degree. I guess that's possessing it and moving it, spreading it, and also just having it.
Listen, yeah, I like that you moved out of there. I'm going to say this. Like,
And if you're listening to this right now, actually you can't be, but if you are going to a show, it has been postponed for tonight. Okay.
No, I'm not going there on this one yet. People will find out the information. I hate that you put it on this podcast.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, like comedians don't need any extra help getting right now.
All right.
But you do what you need to do. That's your job, is to be the mean one on the show. That is your
That
job.
should have been the Pink Panther music.
Da-dan. Da-dan. All right, let me give out some dates because I'm about ready to run out of juice here. Hold on. John Reap.
And you know that I got to say that was a touching moment when they finally brought Jimmy Johnson to the, what do they call it? The circle of
the ring of
the ring of, what was it? The ring of
honor.
And he ends his speech with, "I got one more thing to say. How about them Cowboys?"
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great moment.
That is the iconic moment, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me get these dates out. I'm only going to give a few. We got to get moving here because because
3:30.
Aries and his blowing up has given us a 3 o'clock show.
The
It's
team,
3 o'clock.
man. It's Mark. It's the cameras.
Is it 3 or 3:30?
It's 3.
3:30.
No, it's 3, isn't it? Or is it 3:30?
Well, I checked Andrew's itinerary. It says 3:30.
Okay, we'll pull it up online, really quick, just to make sure. Where are we?
Hartford.
Yeah, Tacoma. There we are. Funny Bone. All right, guys. This is on the 17th. Fucking cool. Hey, man. You just missed my birthday. This is going to be. We're going to be in.
I told you to remind me.
No, but I'm just talking about time wise.
3:30.
We're going to be September 25th through the 27th. We're at the Stress Factory in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I'll probably drive out to that one too. October 3rd through the 5th, we're going to be at the Funny Bone in Orlando, Florida. October 11th, 9th through the 11th, we're going to be at Skyline Comedy Club in Appleton, Wisconsin. And October 17th through the 18th, we're going to be at the Funny Bone in Tampa, Florida. That's where Jimmy Johnson lives. Let's leave it at that.
Tampa, Florida?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know if he still lives there.
That
I know he had a boat out there.
He needs to teach Trump how to tan. Because Jimmy Johnson's got the best tan.
He
dude.
stays on his boat all the time. He loves the water. He loves he loves.
Did
being
you
on
say
the boat.
16th through 18th in Tampa?
Oh, hold on. What did I say?
Dude, you're right. I thought the show was at 3. That's why I was kind of
Okay.
wanting to get on it.
I think Tampa. Well, at least the
we got a little
graphic
bit of
says
cushion.
17th through 19th.
17th through 19th. What did I say?
Oh, I thought you said 16th through 18th.
No, 17th through 19th. Tampa, Florida. If I missed it, now we fixed it. That means your value is very much necessary. If you got it wrong, then you just another voice in the background.
I don't need your approval.
Atta boy. That's here. There you go, Spider. Don't take no shit off nobody. There you go. You're gonna let him get away with that? Oh!
That's the show.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.